hit the subscribe button. Currently only 1.7% of my viewers are subscribe. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll release an exclusive special video just for you. Captain Jack Morgan's eyes narrowed as he scrutinized the flickering holographic map before him. The bridge of the spaceship Endeavour buzzed with the low hum of machinery and the soft murmurs of the crew. Suddenly, the alert console beeped insistently, breaking the uneasy calm. "Captain, we've received a distress signal," Lieutenant Emma Harris announced, her voice taut with urgency. "It's coming from the Asleal sector." Jack's heart skipped a beat. The Asleal sector was notorious for its treacherous conditions and mysterious disappearances. He leaned forward, tapping the console to analyze the incoming data. "Patch it through." The message crackled to life, a garbled voice barely discernible amidst the static. "Unidentified. Distress. Immediate assistance. Coordinates attached." The captain's brow furrowed. "Plot a course, Emma. We're heading into the Asleal sector." Emma's fingers flew over the controls. "Course plotted, Captain. We should reach the coordinates in 3 hours." Jack nodded, his mind racing. Turning to his crew, he spoke with the authority that had earned their respect. "Prepare for possible hostilities. We don't know what we're flying into." The ship surged forward, engines roaring as it cut through the void of space. Jack stood, moving to the bridge's observation window. The stars streaked past, an endless expanse of unknowns. He felt a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension. "Captain," Emma called, breaking his reverie. "Scanners show an Asleal warship, derelict and drifting. Life signs are faint but present." Jack's jaw tightened. "Assemble a boarding party. I want to know what happened on that ship." Minutes later, Jack, Emma, and a small team of heavily armed crew members stood in the airlock, tension palpable. The metallic clang of the docking clamps echoed as they latched onto the Asleal vessel. "Stay sharp," Jack instructed, his voice steady. "We move as one." The airlock hissed open, revealing the dark, foreboding corridors of the Asleal warship. The team moved cautiously, flashlights cutting through the gloom. The ship's architecture was alien, with sleek, organic curves and intricate symbols etched into the walls. As they advanced, the eerie silence was broken only by the occasional creak of the ship's structure. Jack's pulse quickened when they reached the central chamber. Dozens of cryogenic pods lined the walls, each containing a slumbering Asleal. "Captain, look at this," Emma said, pointing to a console displaying incomprehensible data streams. "It appears to be an AI defense system. We need to disable it before we proceed." Jack nodded. "Do it, but be quick. We don't have much time." Emma's fingers danced over the alien controls, her brow furrowing in concentration. After a tense few moments, the console beeped, and the data streams ceased. "Defense system deactivated," she confirmed. "We should be clear to wake them." Jack approached the nearest pod, placing a hand on its cold surface. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding." He activated the pod's release mechanism, and the cover slowly lifted, revealing a tall, slender Asleal with translucent skin and shimmering eyes. The alien stirred, eyes fluttering open. It took a moment to focus before fixing its gaze on Jack. Who are you?" "My name is Captain Jack Morgan of the spaceship Endeavour," Jack replied, keeping his tone calm and reassuring. "We received your distress signal and came to help." The Asleal blinked, struggling to sit up. "I am Kale, commander of this vessel. We were attacked, forced into stasis to survive." Jack helped Kale to his feet. "Who attacked you?" Kale's expression darkened. "A rogue human faction. They seek to harness our technology for their own gain." Jack's blood ran cold. "We need to get you and your crew to safety. Can you walk?" Kale nodded, though weakly. "Yes, but we must hurry. The defense system's deactivation might have alerted them." As the team moved to wake the remaining Asleal, the ship's klaxons blared to life. "Intruders detected," an automated voice announced. "Initiating defense protocols." "Damn it," Jack cursed. "Emma, get us out of here. Now." The team rushed back through the labyrinthine corridors, the ship's lights flashing ominously. As they reached the airlock, Jack looked back to see Cale struggling to keep up. He sprinted back, throwing the alien's arm over his shoulder. "Come on, Cale. We're getting out of here." The airlock closed behind them just as the defense turrets powered up, firing at the empty corridor. The Endeavor detached and pulled away, the Asleal warship fading into the distance. Back on the bridge, Jack turned to his crew. "We have a new mission. We need to find this rogue faction and put an end to their plans. For now, get our guests to the medbay. They've been through hell." Emma nodded, her face set with determination. "Aye, Captain. We'll get to the bottom of this." As the Endeavor surged forward once more, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something far bigger than any of them had anticipated. He looked out at the stars, a silent vow forming in his mind. They would stop the rogue faction, no matter the cost. Cale's piercing eyes fluttered open as the steady hum of the Endeavor filled the medbay. Captain Jack Morgan stood nearby, his expression a mix of curiosity and concern. Beside him, Dr. Simon Clark adjusted a medical scanner, its soft beep providing a rhythmic counterpoint to the ship's ambient noise. "Welcome back," Jack greeted Cale with a warm but cautious smile. "How are you feeling?" Cale's voice was raspy, his throat dry from years in stasis. "Weak but grateful. Thank you for your assistance, Captain Morgan." Jack nodded. "Just Jack will do. We're in this together now." He glanced at Simon. "What's the verdict, Doc?" Simon studied the scanner's readout. "Cale's vitals are stabilizing, but he needs rest and hydration. The stasis took a toll." Cale tried to sit up, but Simon gently restrained him. "Easy there. You need to take it slow." The door swished open, and Lieutenant Emma Harris entered, her expression serious. "Captain, we've got company. Unidentified ships on an intercept course." Jack's eyes hardened. "Looks like we don't get to rest. Cale, do you know who they might be?" Cale's face darkened. "It's them. The rogue faction. They won't let us escape easily." Jack exchanged a look with Emma. "Ready the ship for combat. We're not letting them take us down." As the ship's klaxon sounded, the crew sprang into action. The bridge became a hive of activity, with each member focused on their tasks. The tension was palpable, an electric charge in the air. "Status report," Jack commanded, taking his place in the captain's chair. Emma's fingers flew over her console. 3 ships, heavily armed. They'll be within firing range in 5 minutes. Jack's mind raced. "Activate shields and prepare the weapons. Let's show them what the Endeavor is made of." The view screen displayed the approaching ships, sleek and menacing. The Endeavor shuddered as the first volley of enemy fire struck its shields. "Shields holding," Emma reported. "But we can't take too many hits like that." Jack leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Return fire. Target their engines." The ship's cannons roared to life, sending streaks of energy towards the enemy. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as the Endeavor's shots found their mark. Cale, now sitting up on a medbay cot, watched the battle unfold on a nearby monitor. "Your ship is impressive, Jack. But they won't stop. They'll keep coming." Jack's jaw tightened. "We need to hit them where it hurts." "Emma, can we hack their systems?" Emma shook her head. "Their tech is advanced and their defenses are tight. It would take time we don't have." Simon entered the bridge, carrying a portable medkit. "Cale's stable for now. What's our plan?" Jack glanced at Cale on the monitor. "Cale, do you know any weaknesses in their ships?" Cale's eyes focused intently on the screen. "Their power cores are vulnerable if you can bypass their shields. A direct hit there would cripple them." Jack nodded. "Emma, target their power cores. Let's end this quickly." Emma's fingers danced over the console as she recalibrated the targeting system. "Locked on. Firing now." The Endeavor shuddered as it unleashed a concentrated barrage. The first enemy ship erupted in a fiery explosion, its power core breached. The remaining ships veered off, their resolve shaken. "We've got them on the run." Emma cheered, a rare smile breaking her usually stern demeanor. Jack allowed himself a brief moment of relief. Keep the pressure on. Don't let them regroup. As the Endeavour pursued the retreating ships, Kale's monitor flickered, showing encrypted transmissions. They're calling for reinforcements. We need to disable their communications. Jack's eyes widened. Emma, jam their signals. We can't afford more of them showing up. Emma's hands flew across her console. Jamming initiated. It'll take a few moments to take effect. The Endeavour's guns continued to blaze, battering the remaining ships. One enemy vessel managed to break free, its engines flaring as it sped away. Should we pursue? Emma asked, looking to Jack for direction. Jack shook his head. No, let it go. We need to regroup and make sure we're not walking into a trap. Kale's voice, stronger now, cut through the tension. Jack, you've saved us. But this is far from over. The rogue faction is relentless. They won't stop until they have what they want. Jack met Kale's gaze, the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Then we need to find out exactly what they're after and stop them at the source. Emma turned to Jack, her expression resolute. What's our next move, Captain? Jack took a deep breath, his mind already formulating a plan. We head to the nearest Allied station for repairs and intel. We need to understand our enemy better if we're going to stand a chance. Simon nodded in agreement. And Kale's people need medical attention and rest. We can't fight if we're not at our best. The Endeavour altered its course, stars streaking past as it accelerated towards their new destination. Jack stood at the bridge, looking out into the vast expanse of space. He knew the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but he was ready. We've got a long fight ahead of us, Jack said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. But we'll face it together, and we'll come out stronger. As the ship sailed through the stars, a sense of determination settled over the crew. They were ready for whatever lay ahead, united in their resolve to protect their newfound allies and put an end to the rogue faction's threat once and for all. The Endeavour glided silently towards the Allied station Epsilon, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Jack Morgan stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the growing silhouette of the station. Beside him, Lieutenant Emma Harris monitored the ship's approach, her fingers deftly navigating the controls. Docking sequence initiated, Emma announced, her voice breaking the tense silence. Jack nodded, his thoughts heavy. The recent skirmish with the rogue faction had left their ship battered and their crew exhausted. They needed this respite, but he knew their true test was yet to come. Prepare to disembark, Jack ordered. We need to get Kale and his people the help they need and gather intelligence on our enemy. As the ship docked, the crew moved with practiced efficiency. Jack, Emma, and Dr. Simon Clark escorted Kale and the other Asleal to the station's medbay. The sterile white walls and the hum of medical equipment contrasted sharply with the dim, battle-worn corridors of the Endeavour. Simon spoke with the head medic, arranging for the Asleal's care. They need rest and treatment. Make sure they're comfortable. Jack pulled Emma aside. We need to find out more about the rogue faction. I'm heading to the intelligence office. Meet me there once Kale is settled. Emma nodded, her expression resolute. Understood, Captain. The station's intelligence office was a bustling hub of activity. Screens flickered with data streams, and analysts worked furiously at their terminals. Jack approached the chief intelligence officer, a stern woman with silver hair and piercing blue eyes. Captain Morgan, I presume? She greeted, extending a hand. I'm Commander Renee Hart. I've been briefed on your situation. Jack shook her hand. Commander Hart, we need information on the rogue faction. They're more organized and equipped than we anticipated. Hart gestured to a holographic map, highlighting several systems. We've been tracking their movements. They've been raiding outposts and seizing advanced tech. Our intel suggests they're led by a former Alliance officer, General Marcus Kane. He's ruthless and has a following that believes in human supremacy. Jack's eyes narrowed. Kane, we've crossed paths before. He's dangerous, and if he's after Asleal technology, it's a threat to us all. Hart nodded gravely. Indeed, we've intercepted communications indicating they're planning something big. We don't know what yet, but it's imminent. Emma entered the room, a grim look on her face. Kale's stable, but he's worried. He thinks Kane is after an Asleal artifact, something that could shift the balance of power. Jack's mind raced. We need to find out what and where it is before Kane does. Hart pulled up more data. Our latest intel points to an abandoned Asleal outpost on the edge of the Yara Nebula. If Kane's heading there, it's our best lead. Jack turned to Emma. Prepare the Endeavor. We're heading to the Yara Nebula. The crew worked swiftly, refueling and rearming the ship. As they departed the station, the tension on the bridge was palpable. The stars outside blurred as they jumped to hyperspace, the hum of the engines a constant reminder of the urgency of their mission. Hours later, they emerged from hyperspace near the Yara Nebula. The nebula's swirling colors were both beautiful and foreboding, a cosmic storm hiding countless dangers. Scanners active, Emma reported. I'm picking up a faint signal. Could be the outpost. Take us in, but keep it stealthy, Jack instructed. We don't want to alert Kane. As they approached the outpost, the signal grew stronger. The ancient structure loomed ahead, half buried in the nebula's gas clouds. Its design was unmistakably Asleal, with flowing lines and bioluminescent patterns. Kale, do you recognize this place? Jack asked over the comm. Kale's voice crackled through the speakers. Yes, it's a research facility. If Kane is here, he's after the Chronos Crystal, an artifact that can manipulate time. Jack's heart pounded. We can't let him get his hands on it. Emma, prepare a boarding team. The Endeavor docked with the outpost, and Jack led the team into the darkened corridors. The air was thick with the smell of decay, and the only light came from their flashlights, casting long shadows on the walls. Stay alert, Jack whispered. Kane's men could be anywhere. As they moved deeper into the facility, the team encountered signs of recent activity. Discarded equipment, fresh footprints in the dust. The tension rose with each step, every noise amplifying their anxiety. They reached the central chamber, a vast room with a towering obelisk at its center. The Chronos crystal glowed with an ethereal light, casting an eerie glow on the faces of Kane's men who surrounded it. There they are, Emma whispered, her grip tightening on her weapon. Jack motioned for silence, formulating a plan. We need to take them out quietly. We can't risk damaging the crystal. The team spread out, moving silently into position. Jack took a deep breath, signaling the attack. They struck with precision, neutralizing the guards before they could raise an alarm. As the last guard fell, the team approached the crystal. Its light pulsed rhythmically, mesmerizing and powerful. Secure the area, Jack ordered. Emma, get Kale in here. We need to know how to handle this thing. The tension in the room was palpable as they waited. The crystal's glow seemed to intensify, filling the chamber with an almost tangible energy. Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of something monumental, something that could change the course of their struggle against Kane. Kale entered, his eyes widening at the sight of the crystal. We must be careful. The Chronos crystal is volatile. If mishandled, it could tear the fabric of time itself. The Chronos crystal's pulsating glow illuminated the faces of Captain Jack Morgan and his team. The gravity of the moment was not lost on any of them. Jack's eyes flicked to Kale, who was examining the crystal with a mix of awe and apprehension. We need to secure the crystal and get it back to the Endeavor, Jack said, breaking the silence. Kale, can it be moved safely? Kale nodded slowly. Yes, but we must be cautious. Its energy field is unstable. Any sudden movement could trigger a catastrophic reaction. Jack turned to Emma. Prep the containment unit. We'll move it carefully. Simon, stay alert. We might need medical assistance if things go sideways. Emma and Simon set to work, their movements precise and deliberate. The rest of the team formed a protective perimeter around the crystal, their senses on high alert. Every creak of the old facility seemed magnified, every shadow a potential threat. Just as the containment unit was secured around the crystal, the facility's alarms blared to life. Jack's heart pounded as the emergency lights cast a red hue over the room. The comm crackled with urgency. "Captain, enemy reinforcements incoming," one of the crew members reported from the ship. "Damn it," Jack muttered. "Emma, how long until we're ready to move?" "Almost there, Captain. Just a few more seconds," Emma replied, her focus unbroken. Cale's eyes widened in alarm. "They're here. We must hurry." The sound of boots echoed down the corridor, followed by the unmistakable clatter of weapons being readied. Jack's grip tightened on his sidearm. "Hold your positions. We can't let them take the crystal." The first wave of rogue faction soldiers burst into the chamber, their faces set with determination. Jack's team opened fire, the sharp cracks of their weapons reverberating through the room. Energy blasts ricocheted off the walls, filling the air with the acrid smell of burning metal. Jack shouted over the din, "Emma, now would be a good time." Emma gave a thumbs up. "Containment unit is secure. Let's move." Jack and Cale lifted the crystal, the containment field humming as it stabilized the artifact's energy. They moved quickly but carefully, the team providing cover fire as they retreated down the corridor. Simon barked orders to the rear guard. "Keep them off us. We're almost there." The retreat was chaotic, the enemy pressing hard. The tension was palpable as Jack's team fought their way back to the docking bay. Every step felt like a mile, every second an eternity. They finally reached the airlock, the Endeavor looming like a beacon of hope. Jack tapped his comm, "Open the bay doors. We're coming in hot." The airlock hissed open, and the team scrambled inside. Jack and Cale carefully placed the crystal in the containment chamber, sealing it with a relieved sigh. "We're not out of the woods yet," Jack said, his voice grim. "Emma, get us out of here." Full speed. The Endeavor's engines roared to life, and the ship lurched forward, pulling away from the Asleal outpost. The view screen showed the rogue faction's ships in hot pursuit, their weapons firing relentlessly. "Shields at 60%, Emma reported, her hands flying over the controls. "They're not letting up." Jack's mind raced. "Plot a course through the nebula. We'll lose them in the gas clouds." The ship dove into the nebula, the swirling colors and turbulent gases obscuring their path. The pursuing ships followed, but the Endeavor's maneuverability gave them an edge. Jack watched the screen intently, the tension in the bridge mounting. "Hold steady," Jack ordered. "We need to shake them." Emma's eyes were fixed on her console. "Just a little further. There. Course correction complete." The Endeavor twisted and turned through the nebula, evading the rogue faction's fire. The gas clouds distorted their sensors, creating ghost images and false readings. Slowly, the enemy ships began to falter, their pursuit losing cohesion. "We're losing them," Simon said, relief in his voice. Jack allowed himself a brief smile. "Good. Keep us on this course until we're clear." As the ship emerged from the nebula, the stars reappeared, serene and indifferent to the chaos. The rogue faction's ships were nowhere to be seen, lost in the swirling mists behind them. Emma exhaled deeply. "We did it. We're clear." Jack turned to his crew, pride swelling in his chest. "Excellent work, everyone. We've got the crystal and we're still in one piece. Now, let's get this thing to a secure location and figure out our next move." Cale stepped forward, his expression grateful. "Thank you, Jack. You've saved not just my people but potentially countless others from Kane's ambitions." Jack clasped Cale's shoulder. "We're not done yet. We still need to stop Kane. But we'll do it together." The Endeavor sailed through the stars, its crew united by their triumph and the challenges ahead. Jack stood at the bridge, looking out into the vast expanse of space. He knew the battle was far from over, but with allies like Cale and his loyal crew, he was ready for whatever came next.